coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
You're taking a live look outside the U.S. Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. The High Court issued a new ruling today overturning Roe v. Wade. Demonstrators have gathered all day in the wake of today's historic decision. And it's not just the nation's capital. Demonstrations are taking place across the state. Here's a live look at the one in Boone County. That's outside the Boone County Courthouse in Columbia, where dozens of people have been gathering there for the past few hours. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain. Thanks for joining us tonight. Today's decision means abortion is now illegal in Missouri. In 2019, state lawmakers passed House Bill 126, making abortions illegal in the state if Roe v. Wade were to be overturned. Today, State Attorney General Eric Schmidt issued an opinion enacting that 2019 law. And Governor Parson signed a proclamation shortly after, making most abortions in the state illegal. Abortion is allowed if the mother's life is in danger, but there are not exceptions for rape or incest. It also makes assisting in an abortion in the state a Class B felony. That carries a prison sentence of up to 15 years. A rally celebrating today's decision drew dozens of people to the steps of the Missouri Supreme Court this morning. Here's what they
If it were not for the grace of God and His sustaining work and provision, this day would not be possible. I am so very grateful that the Lord is good and kind and gracious.
The rally was in the works for quite some time in anticipation of Roe v. Wade being overturned. Dozens showed up and there were several speakers on hand, but around halfway through the celebration, 3 supporters of abortion rights began chanting from across the street.
I was so upset, just crying, I broke down in tears because I was like, what is it going to be like now? Where does it end? Because I doubt it's going to stop here.
The protesters who attended are roommates back in Columbia, but said they felt compelled to drive to the state capitol after the Supreme Court's decision. There's been a steady stream of reactions from both state and local leaders. We have a running list on our website with their statements. That's on KOMU.com. Earlier today, Missouri's Attorney General and Governor moved quickly to make Missouri the first state to officially ban abortions. Eric Schmidt said, quote, "My office has been fighting to uphold the sanctity of life since I became Attorney General. I will continue to fight to protect all life, both born and unborn." Governor Mike Parson also added his thoughts to the High Court's ruling, saying, quote, "We are happy the U.S. Supreme Court has corrected this error and returned power to the people and the states to make these decisions. Today, we have won our fight to protect innocent life." We wanted to know how local residents are feeling about today's historic ruling. KOMU 8's Colby Zach has that part of our team coverage. Colby?
Emily, as you can imagine, reactions are split. Some are celebrating while others are upset. Those willing to go on camera today here in mid-Missouri were primarily upset with today's ruling. Several people that disapprove of the ruling are actively speaking out through protesting. I spoke with one woman who stood outside Planned Parenthood by herself for several hours out of frustration.
I decided there was nothing else I could do with my day. I was frustrated and I felt like I just needed to come out here. It's scary coming out here alone, but every time someone honks or gives me a thumbs up, I feel more confident in being here.
I think that it's ridiculous, and I think that men should not make laws about women's bodies, and I think that it's really, really easy to say, carry a baby, you don't have to keep it, give it to adoption, when you're not the one actually carrying that weight on your shoulders.
Here's another live look at the protest happening outside of the Boone County Courthouse right now. There will be another rally tomorrow at the same location. We will have full coverage as this story continues to develop. In the studio, Colby Zach, KOMU 8 News.
So what comes next? KOMU 8's Steffi Roach joins us now in the studio to continue our team coverage tonight.
Well, Emily, there's many questions left unanswered about the future of women's rights, as well as the future of having access to contraceptives. Planned Parenthood and some Missouri Democratic leaders are issuing a warning.
What's next for Missouri is that abortions are banned again, and even including cases of rape and incest.
Missouri is now the first state to effectively outlaw abortions in the U.S.
Governor Mike Parson signed a proclamation to end elective abortions in Missouri, creating criminal liability for anyone who performs or induces an abortion.
This proclamation comes after the House Bill 126 that was passed a few years ago. There is a small clause that has to do with the life of the mother.
Kansas is currently the only state in Planned Parenthood's Great Plains region that still protects the legal right to an abortion.
Kansas, of course, has a state constitutional protection and does not have a trigger ban. Missouri, Oklahoma, and Arkansas all have trigger bans.
There are also concerns being raised that the abortion ban will affect access to birth control or contraceptives like IUDs or the morning after pill.
We have legislators who have already said that they plan to file that legislation. We've already seen folks talk about it. We had a special session where the entire argument was around IUDs.
But some argue that for years, Missouri has already been in a post-Roe era.
Only a matter of years ago, Planned Parenthood Great Plains, which operates in western Missouri and Columbia and the Kansas City area, had 2 abortion facility licenses. Both of those licenses were lost due to state restrictions. That left 1 location in the state of Missouri, in the St. Louis area, but abortion care in Missouri required 2 trips to the same provider 72 hours apart.
While some Missouri leaders are celebrating the overturn of Roe v. Wade, including U.S. Senator Josh Hawley, medical leaders say this is a devastating blow to women's rights.
Personally, as a doctor, as someone who has gone through medical training, today is the day where I'm no longer able to care for people in the way that my medical training taught me to.
It's a historic day, but it's a day of division. House Minority Leader Quaid told me that while the outlawing of abortions in Missouri will especially harm women from marginalized communities, she says the lack of bodily autonomy will affect, quote, everyone. In the studio, Steffi Roche, KOMU8 News.
Okay, thanks, Steffi. In the meantime, several companies have said they will pay for their employees to travel to get an abortion. This is a short list here of those companies that have pledged to cover travel expenses for employees going out of state to get an abortion if they need one. This list includes companies like Amazon, Netflix, and Dick's Sporting Goods. We, of course, will have continuous coverage for you coming up tonight on KOMU8 News at 10. And if you've missed any part of our broadcasts this evening, remember you can watch us online or on the KOMU8 streaming app. A big announcement from the Treeline Music Fest that rocked the community. Will explain.
Another cool night ahead in mid-Missouri, and we are looking at pleasant temperatures as we kick off a new football season. I'll have your forecast.
Sports Director Ben Arnett live on Faroe Field, where the new football season starts in just 1 hour. KOMU8 News at 6 starts right now.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU8 News starts now.
Well, you have heard it. Mizzou football is back. Good evening, everyone. I'm Evie Allen.
And I'm Emily Spain. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. The Tigers are set to kick off at 7. We've got team coverage of the big game tonight, including a live KOMU8 Mizzou Extra kickoff special right after this newscast. We've also have a reporter live at the columns breaking down the current traffic situation around the stadium tonight.
We'll get to all of those Mizzou football action in just a minute, but first, a big announcement.
Columbia's biggest music festival and a major economic driver will not happen this year. The Treeline Music Fest has been canceled.
That's right. The festival's organizer made the announcement in a social media post. KOMU8's Lacey Reeves is in studio now to tell us how this could impact Columbia. Lacey.
The search for winter workers, how MoDOT's preparing for the season.
Plus, how a major contribution is helping bring health care to rural communities.
And it's homecoming, how Columbia is preparing for the big weekend. This is KOMU8 News at 6.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU8 News starts now.
Well, get ready. It might not be long before winter weather is here, and that means more problems for drivers. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain.
And I'm Evie Allen. Thanks so much for joining us. MoDOT has had a shortage of snowplower drivers since 2020 and is recruiting for the season. KOMU8's Lacey Reeves is live now on Highway 63 in Columbia to tell us how the state is trying to get ready despite not enough manpower. Lacey.
Evie and Emily, there's no snow out there today, but you might have seen some MoDOT gold trucks out there on Highway 63. That's because statewide drivers were preparing on their routes that they'll be clearing ice and snow from when winter hits Missouri. But there's way more work than there are drivers to do it.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
I'm Eric Greitens, Navy SEAL, and today we're going rhino hunting.
That was part of a new campaign ad from Eric Greitens, and tonight we have new reaction to the controversial video. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain. Thanks for joining us tonight. That ad was removed from Facebook today, but Twitter left the video on its platform. It marked it with a notification, though, saying it violated their rules about abusive behavior. Greitens is a candidate for Missouri's soon-to-be open U.S. Senate seat as Senator Roy Blunt leaves. In the video, he could be seen holding a shotgun and declaring he's hunting, quote, rhinos. Rhino is an acronym for Republican in name only and is used to describe moderate Republicans. And reaction is pouring in online. New tonight, the Missouri Fraternal Order of Police posted a statement condemning the video. It said in part, quote, "This deplorable video has no place in our political system and sends a dangerous message that it is somehow acceptable to kill those who have differing political beliefs." Missouri Senate Majority Leader Caleb Rowden also responded to the video, saying in a tweet, quote, "We have been in contact with the Missouri Highway Patrol and hope that former Governor Greitens finds the help he needs. Anyone with multiple accusations of abuse toward women and children should probably steer clear of this rhetoric." The ad comes at a time when Greitens is trying to move past graphic allegations of domestic abuse and other charges. Let's take a look at some of those previous charges. In February of 2018, the City of St. Louis grand jury indicted Greitens on felony invasion of privacy charges stemming from an affair in 2015. In April of 2018, St. Louis prosecutors charged him with a second felony, accusing him of using a charity donor list for his 2016 political campaign. In June of 2018, Greitens resigned as Missouri's governor during a scandal involving accusations of blackmail, bondage, and sexual assault. He is now facing a very public child custody battle with his ex-wife. We break that all down on our website. Kenton.
It sounds exciting. Well, coming up, you've probably seen a few of these furry felines wandering around town, how one local resident is helping the stray cat population.
Plus, after beating last week's heat, CPS bus drivers got a special surprise from students. We'll explain after the break.
Coming up, more movement in the housing market, why home sales are dropping.
Coming up, the Inflation Reduction Act is heading to the president's desk. What it could mean for the fight against climate change. Next. Okay, thanks, Matt. Coming up in your international news after the break, the latest from Mexico, where cartel violence has U.S. warning Americans to shelter in place.